Good morning. Happy Sunday, Sunday, Sunday. Today is March 14th. Isn't that a thing?
Isn't that a thing?
Like March 14th, is that the Ides of March?
That's the 15th,
That's the 15th.
I think.
So tomorrow's the Ides of March. But nonetheless, today is Sunday, March 14th. Sunday, Sunday, Sunday. We're going to begin, as we always do, as we turn to page 1.
Page 1, that's my favorite page.
My favorite page, too, as we rise together. We face the Nagel Yisrael, the flag of Israel, or we put the flag of Israel in our heart, and we sing together Hatikvah.
Kol od balevav penima, nefesh Yehudi homiya, ulfatei mizrach kadima, ayin letzion et Sophia. Od lo avda tikvatenu, hatikva bat shnot almayim, liot al-chofshi be'aretzenu, Eretz Zion v'Yerushalayim, liot al-chofshi be'aretzenu, Eretz Zion v'Yerushalayim.
Excellent work. You may be seated, everyone. Well, the Torah portion for today is Vayikra, which means God called out. And God called out from God's new home, the Mishkan, the tabernacle, the tent of meeting, and spoke to Moses about now what was supposed to happen in that big fancy tent, the Mishkan, the tabernacle, the tent of meeting.
And what was supposed to happen?
Sacrifices were
Ooh.
supposed to happen. Sacrifices that were mandatory, sacrifices that were voluntary, and sacrifices that meant you were sorry. So if you made a mistake, you offered a sacrifice. If you wanted things to go well, you made a sacrifice. If you were super thankful about something that did go well, you made a sacrifice. And each and every day, no matter what, you made a sacrifice. And those sacrifices turned into our daily prayer service. They're the ones that became our prayer service. And in fact, some of their names we still use to describe the morning, the afternoon, and the evening prayer services. Don't we, Cantor?
That's right.
And what are those names?
So the morning and evening services are called Shacharit and Arvit, which means morning and evening because there were daily offerings made at that time. The afternoon service is called Mincha, which means like a gift because it's the afternoon service happens at the time that the Mincha, this kind of gift offering, would happen in the temple times.
That voluntary offering. And often that was a time, and that was an offering of food. Of meal, of
Grain.
Grain and flour, and not meat. Delicious. So, a very important Torah portion this week, but so interestingly that it's about calling out, because I'm going to call out the Cantor right now to sing a few lines of this Torah portion in a very special Iraqi trope.
Yes.
And isn't that because this is considered to be one of the older parts of the Torah?
I don't know about that, but the reason that I know these couple of lines in Iraqi trope is because every year I do a global Jewish music Shabbat service, and it just so happens the first year that I did it was Parshat Vayikra, and so I learned lines from that portion in this special Iraqi Torah trope. There are many different tunes to chant the Torah depending upon your Jewish subgroup and where you've been living and who you've been hanging out with for the last couple thousand years.
Absolutely.
And here's one of them.
And the reason I said it was one of the older parts of the Torah is because this is a priestly instruction. And some people believe that it was part of the original priestly handbook, right? Which was one of the older sections of the Torah.
Gotcha. Yes, Bible nerdery.
Yeah.
Love it. So here's the first couple of lines of Leviticus, which literally are the first couple of lines because this is the first portion in the whole book of Leviticus. Vayikra el Moshe, vaydaber Adonai elau me'ohel mo'ed le'mor, daber el bnei Israel v'amarta lehem Adam, ki yakrib mikem korban l'Adonai min habehema, min habasar u'min hatzon takribu et korbanechem. And it kind of goes on from there. But you can hear it sounds very different, and even the dialect of Hebrew is a little bit different.
Beautiful, Cantor. Thank you. And so as we learn about these sacrifices, I just want you to think about what you sacrifice in your life on occasion to make sure everybody has what they need. Okay. Excellent. Now that we've completed our Torah, we are going to return to our service. We're going to rise for our call to worship Baruch Hu, which is on page 3.
Page 3, that's my favorite page.
My favorite too.
Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed Le'olam Va'ed Yalalai 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 Yalalai
All right, and now that we're all standing and now that we've said we're ready to pray to God, I ask you my question. How many God is there? One God. So let's turn together to page 4.
Page 4, that's my favorite.
Hold up one finger for one God with Shema.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Vaed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Vaed. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Excellent work.
Please be seated.
Please be seated. And now it's time for the Midah of the week on March 14th, the day before the Ides of March,
Right.
we think.
We think.
So, this week's Midah is industriousness. It is, in fact, one of my favorite. It means working hard. It means having a good work ethic, and it means doing your share, including, and I want to make sure that my own children are listening here, your share of the housework, whether that is helping to wash or dry the dishes, fold the laundry, put the laundry away, clean your own room, take out the trash, feed the pets, whatever it is. In fact, our midah of industriousness, which in Hebrew is called
Zrizut.
zrizut, which means that, in fact, when you have a task, you should do it as quickly as you possibly can instead of waiting for the very last moment. Because if you complete a task as quickly as you can, guess what you can do, Cantor?
Everything else.
Another task. That's right. And I don't mean to say that in a bad way. I mean another task could be then not taking out the garbage, but reading a book, learning something new, spending time with a friend, all of that good stuff. And so, industriousness not only includes doing the work, doing your part, but it means doing it well, to the best of your ability, and doing it quickly. But not so quickly that you rush and don't take care, because rushing is not what industriousness is about. Doing your work well, properly, the first time is what industriousness is about. But Cantor, you're thinking there, sometimes I feel overworked.
Yes.
I feel that too. Has anyone else felt overworked? Well, if you remember a couple weeks ago, we talked about the importance of Shabbat. So, and the rabbis tell us that when they talk about industriousness, that you even need to be industrious about
Yes.
Shabbat.
Absolutely.
About your rest time. So when you're supposed to be resting, don't do the Facebook and the Twitter chat and all the other stuff like that. Cantor likes it when I make up words like that. And
the snap text.
And the snap text. All those things we should not be doing, because when we're being industrial about rest, including sleeping at night, we shouldn't cheat on that as well.
Yeah.
Because that even rest, according to the rabbis, is part of our work obligation.
Speaking of no rest.
Speaking of no rest, there is no rest in the learning of Hebrew, is there, Cantor?
Exactly.
And so this week's Hebrew word is who. And this is a crazy one.
This is a great word.
Great word. Cantor, what does who mean in English?
Who in English is the pronoun he, as in he goes to the store.
And how do you say he in Hebrew?
Who.
Well, I just told you, he. How do you say he in Hebrew?
Who.
Ah, ha, 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 ha. Who is how you say the pronoun he in Hebrew, and he is how you say the pronoun who in English.
Right.
Yes.
Yes.
And we remember
Oh.
that by asking the question,
Who
is
is
he?
he?
Because who indeed is he, and he indeed is who. So how do you say he in Hebrew, Cantor?
Who?
How do you say who in English, Cantor?
He.
That is one for the ages.
Oh, yeah.
And now we return to the central part of our worship as we rise together for tefillah. And I say that tefillah is a central portion of our worship because the word tefillah means prayer. So this is the prayer called the prayer. So it's the big one. And we rise for this. So everybody, please rise. And we are going to begin on page 6.
Page 6.
Page
That's my
6.
favorite.
It's my favorite too, with Adonai Sifatai. And then the cantor is going to take us directly into the tefillah, or another name for that prayer is Amidah, which means standing, which is why we're standing during this prayer. And then remember, there's all kinds of choreography during this one, so there's some bowing and tiptoeing and all kinds of stuff. So please watch us because we all want to be part of the big dance.
Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Velohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Velohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor, Vehanorah, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Vekonei Hakol, Vezocher Chastei Avot V'imahot, Umevi Geula Livnei V'neihem, Leman Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magen Avraham Vezrat Sarah.
Page 7.
Atah Gibor Leolam Adonai, Mechayei Hakol Atah, Rav Lehoshia, Mashiv Haruach U'Morid Hagashem, Mechalkel Chaim Bechesed, Mechayei Hakol Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Verofei Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Micha Mocha Bal Gevurot, Umidom Elai, מקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זה אל זה ואמר, קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוך כל הארץ, כבודו. אדיר, אדירנו, אדוני, אדוננו, מה אדיר שמך בכל הארץ. ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. אחד הוא אלוהינו, הוא אבינו ומלכנו, הוא מושיענו והוא ישמיענו, ברחמיו לעיני כל חי. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהי ציון, לדור ודור, הללויה. לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיגה לך. לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיגה לך. ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש, קדושתך נקדיש. ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש, לעולם לעולם ועד. לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיגה לך. לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיגה לך. Great work, everyone. You may be seated. We're going to turn to page 11. Page 11. It's my favorites for our closing song, Kol HaNishama. Kol HaNishama Hallelujah, Hallelujah. Kol HaNishama together. Kol HaNishama Hallelujah, Hallelujah, Hallelujah. Happy Sunday, everyone! Sunday, Sunday, Sunday!